TV soap news and spoilers say that a day of shocking revelations and emotional turmoil. On the sultry evening of July 9, 2025, the fictional town of Fairhaven, the setting for Beyond the Gates, was ablaze with drama, heartbreak, and secrets threatening to unravel the lives of its residents. The upscale streets of Uptown and the shadowy corners of the town's underbelly bore witness to emotional confrontations, ultimatums, and haunting memories that could change everything. From a scandalous first date to a chilling connection to a past crime, the events of this day left the residents, and viewers, reeling. Let's dive into the electrifying stories that unfolded, painting a vivid picture of love, betrayal, and unresolved mysteries. A shocking encounter at Uptown. Dany's heartbreak. The air was thick with anticipation at Uptown, Fairhaven's trendiest nightlife district, where neon lights and pulsing music set the stage for a collision of hearts and egos. Dany Harper, a woman still nursing the wounds of a devastating breakup, stepped into the upscale lounge expecting a quiet evening to clear her mind. What she encountered instead was a scene that would sear itself into her memory, a betrayal so raw it threatened to shatter her fragile sense of trust. There, in a dimly lit booth, sat Andre Carter, the charismatic playboy who had been relentlessly pursuing her for weeks. His charm was undeniable, his persistence almost legendary. Dany had been hesitant to give in to his advances, wary of committing to someone with such a reputation, let alone appearing with him in public. Her heart, still bruised from her ex-fiancé Bill's abrupt departure for another woman, Haley, had made her cautious. She had confided in Andre about her vulnerabilities, laying bare the pain of being abandoned and the fear of trusting again. Andre had seemed to listen, his dark eyes softening as he promised to be patient, to prove he was different. But the scene before her now told a different story. Clinging to Andre's arm was Ashley Morgan, a stunning newcomer to Fairhaven with a reputation for turning heads. Their laughter echoed over the clinking glasses, their chemistry palpable as they leaned closer, oblivious to the world around them. For Dany, it was as if time froze. Her breath caught in her throat, her pulse pounding in her ears. The man who had sworn he was serious about her was on a date with another woman. A public, brazen display that felt like a slap across her face. Dany's shock quickly morphed into a storm of emotions, betrayal, humiliation, and a simmering fury. She had opened her heart to Andre, revealing the raw edges of her pain, and he had thrown it back in her face. As she stood there, rooted to the spot, memories of Bill's betrayal flooded back. Bill had left her for Haley without so much as a backward glance, and now Andre, the man she had begun to trust, was following the same path. The parallels were excruciating, each one a knife twisting in her chest. But Dany wasn't one to crumble quietly. Her eyes narrowed, her resolve hardening. She didn't have a claim on Andre, they weren't exclusive, but that didn't dull the sting of seeing him with Ashley. She stormed out of the lounge, the cool night air doing little to soothe her burning anger. Dany knew one thing for certain: when Andre returned home and faced her wrath, Ashley Morgan would need to find a place to hide. The confrontation was inevitable, and it promised to be explosive. As Dany sped through the streets of Fairhaven, her mind raced. Would she confront Andre immediately, demanding answers for his duplicity? Or would she bide her time, letting her anger simmer until the perfect moment to strike? One thing was clear: Dany's resentment was a ticking time bomb, and when it detonated, no one in its path would emerge unscathed. Vanessa's ultimatum. A line in the sand across town, in the quieter, tree-lined streets of Fairhaven's residential district, another drama was unfolding, one laced with danger and desperation. Vanessa Reed, a woman known for her sharp wit and unyielding loyalty, sat across from Joey Malone in the dimly lit kitchen of her modest home. The air between them crackled with tension, the weight of unspoken truths hanging heavy. Joey, a man with a penchant for trouble, had been spiraling ever since the truth about Kenneth's shooting came to light. The incident, a dark stain on Fairhaven's recent history, had sent shockwaves through the town. Kenneth, a local businessman with ties to the underworld, had been gunned down in a seemingly random act of violence. But as whispers of conspiracy and cover-ups surfaced, it became clear that the shooting was anything but random. Randy, Joey's older brother and a key figure in Fairhaven's criminal underbelly, had been conspicuously absent since the truth began to unravel. His sudden disappearance only fueled speculation that he knew more about the shooting than he let on. Vanessa, who had been Randy's confidant for years, was now caught in the crossfire. She had always known Joey was reckless, his temper a lit fuse waiting for a spark. But the revelations about Kenneth's shooting had pushed him to a dangerous edge. His obsession with uncovering the truth, or exacting revenge, had consumed him, and Vanessa could see the toll it was taking. His eyes were bloodshot, his hands trembling as he recounted the latest rumors about Randy's involvement. Vanessa's heart pounded, not just from fear for Joey but from the weight of what she knew. Randy had confided in her before he vanished, dropping cryptic hints about a deal gone wrong and a betrayal that cut deep. Vanessa hadn't pressed him for details. She knew better than to dig too deep into Randy's world, but now she wished she had. The fragments of information she possessed were enough to make her panic. If Joey kept pushing, if he kept digging into the shooting, he could uncover truths that would put them all in danger. Worse, he could draw the attention of the shadowy figures who had orchestrated the crime in the first place. "Joey, you need to stop," Vanessa said, her voice steady but laced with urgency. She leaned across the table, her eyes locking onto his. "This isn't just about you anymore. You're stirring up things that are bigger than you, bigger than all of us. If you don't calm down, I'm out." Joey's jaw tightened, his fists clenching. "You're asking me to let it go? After what they did to Kenneth? After Randy just up and left? You know something, Vanessa. Don't pretend you don't." Vanessa's heart skipped a beat. She did know something. Bits and pieces of a puzzle she wasn't sure she wanted to solve. But she also knew that Joey's recklessness could drag them both into an abyss from which there was no return. Her ultimatum wasn't just a threat, it was a desperate plea to save him from himself. If he didn't back off, she would have to walk away, severing the bond they had built over years of shared secrets and loyalty. The choice was his, but the stakes couldn't be higher. As the night wore on, Vanessa's mind raced with possibilities. Was Randy's disappearance a sign that he was guilty, or was he running from something, or someone else? And what did Kenneth's shooting have to do with the larger web of deceit that seemed to entangle half of Fairhaven? Vanessa's ultimatum to Joey was a line in the sand, but whether he would cross it or retreat remained to be seen. A memory resurfaces. Smith, Jacob, and the shadows of the past. Meanwhile, in the heart of Fairhaven's police precinct, Detective Smith and Jacob sat hunched over a cluttered desk, surrounded by case files and half-empty coffee cups. The two men, partners for over a decade, had seen their fair share of mysteries, but the one they were unraveling now felt different, darker, more personal. As they sifted through evidence, comparing notes on a string of seemingly unrelated crimes, a memory sparked, sending a chill down their spines. The conversation had started innocently enough, with Smith recounting a lead from a witness who claimed to have seen something suspicious on the night of Martin's Night of Terror, a brutal attack 2 years ago that had left the town reeling. Martin, a quiet loner with no apparent enemies, had been found beaten and barely alive in an alley, his attacker vanishing into the night. The case had gone cold, but Smith and Jacob had never stopped chasing leads, convinced that the truth was out there, buried in the details. As Jacob flipped through an old report, something clicked. "Wait a minute," he said, his voice low, almost reverent. 2 years ago, Vernon said something at the bar. You remember? He was drunk, rambling about a kid he used to know, someone who got mixed up with the wrong crowd. He mentioned a name, Elon. Smith's eyes widened. Elon. The name had come up before, in a different context, a childhood memory from a witness in another case. Could it be the same Elon? Was it possible that this elusive figure, a ghost from Fairhaven's past, was the key to unlocking not just Martin's attack but a larger web of crimes? The detectives exchanged a glance, the weight of the realization settling over them like a storm cloud. For Smith, the mention of Elon stirred something deeper, a vague recollection of a case from early in his career, when a young boy named Elon had been caught up in a scandal involving a local gang. The details were hazy, but the name carried a weight that Smith couldn't shake. Jacob, too, was haunted by the possibility that Vernon's drunken confession held the key to a mystery they had been chasing for years. Had Vernon known more than he let on? Was his ramble a clue, or just the booze talking? As the detectives dug deeper, piecing together fragments of evidence, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the verge of something big. The connection between Elon, Martin's attack, and Vernon's cryptic words was tenuous, but it was there, shimmering just out of reach. Every instinct told them to keep pushing, to follow the trail wherever it led. But with each step, they risked uncovering truths that could shake Fairhaven to its core. A town on the brink. The events of July 9, 2025, were more than just isolated incidents. They were threads in a tapestry of secrets, betrayals, and unresolved pasts that wove through the heart of Fairhaven. Dany's heartbreak at Uptown was a personal tragedy, but it mirrored the larger theme of trust shattered by those closest to us. Vanessa's ultimatum to Joey was a desperate bid to protect them both from a dangerous truth, but it underscored the precarious balance between loyalty and survival. And Smith and Jacob's discovery was a reminder that the past never truly stays buried, its echoes reverberating through the present in ways no one could predict. As the residents of Fairhaven went about their lives, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface, one thing was certain: the drama was far from over. Dany's fury, Vanessa's fear, and the detectives' dogged pursuit of the truth were setting the stage for a reckoning that would leave no one untouched. The gates of Fairhaven were open, but what lay beyond was a maze of passion, danger, and secrets waiting to be exposed. For those eager to witness the full scope of these dramatic events, the stories of July 9 are captured in vivid detail in the latest episode of Beyond the Gates. Tune in to see Dany's confrontation with Andre, Vanessa's tense standoff with Joey, and the detectives' race against time to unravel a mystery that could change everything. In Fairhaven, nothing is as it seems, and the truth is always just beyond the gates.